The book I chose for my reading log this week is Mirror, Mirror by Marilyn Singer, illustrated by Josie Massey. It's published by Dutton Children's Books in 2010. The genre is poetry. It is 32 pages long, and it is appropriate for grades 3 to 6. Singer won the NCTE award in 2015 for this book. This is a unique book of reversible verse in which Singer tells two sides to every story. The poems are all based on fairy tales and are read from bottom to top and top to bottom. So there's really no plot then or setting, as each page is a different story. So I'll just read a couple to you. In my hood, skipping through the wood, carrying a basket, picking berries to eat, juicy and sweet, what a treat. But a girl mustn't dawdle, after all, Grandma's waiting. And then she flips it. After all, Grandma's waiting, mustn't dawdle, but a girl. What a treat, juicy and sweet, picking berries to eat, carrying a basket, skipping through the wood, in my hood. And as you can see, the illustrator, Massey, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, Massey, has put a line between each of the illustrations. She's done wonderfully in watercolor, and they're very colorful and imaginative. So there's a poem on each side of the page. It's a reverso poem that goes down and then up, and telling two different sides to the story of the fairy tales, and then the pictures illustrate that very same thing. So it made me think about reading poetry books to my children, like The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales by John Scieszka. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right. But again, that was a book based on fairy tales but took a funny spin on them. And I think children really enjoy this. I think these are appropriate for kids because they've heard those fairy tales, they're familiar with them, but then these offer another creative way at looking at them. And it's, of course, always good to expose them to poetry because I don't think we do that enough. And I like that she gives a note to the children in the back of the book and kind of encourages them to try it herself. She says her first reverso she wrote was inspired by her cat, August. A cat without a chair, incomplete. Incomplete, a cat without a chair. And then she inspires kids to try to write them herself. So I think a great activity with this book would be to have children write a reverso poem. First, we could brainstorm ideas or other fairy tales or nursery rhyme characters like Humpty Dumpty or Little Miss Muffet or Three Blind Mice, and then the teacher could have an example of a reverso poem. The children could try writing their own, and maybe for extra credit, even illustrating them. And that is Mirror, Mirror.